Okay, we will go ahead and get started. So this presentation is just going to go through a few different programs that you can use for student engagement. These could be used during virtual learning or in your classrooms with kids in class. If you just popped in, you can copy this bit.ly link down, and that will make a copy of this presentation so that you can reference it later or watch the videos. A few of the slides will have some directions for how to integrate these programs into Canvas. And those are really great to have visual next to you when you are working in the programs in Canvas. So make sure you have a copy of that bit.ly link. You all have your videos turned off and you are on mute, so I cannot see or hear you. If you have a question as we're going through, you can type that into the Q&A box, and Katie Smith will jump in and ask that question so that we can get you answers to those. I will probably talk pretty fast to get through everything, so just ask those questions whenever you need them, and I can go back or slow down. But again, there are videos and instructions in the presentation that you can go back to watch if needed. And then I will jump between this presentation and actually showing you the programs in real time. So just be patient with me as I work through those different screens. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. These are the different programs that we are going to talk through. I will go through a few Google Chrome extensions that I would recommend you add to your browser. We'll talk about Jamboard, FlipGrid, and then some interactive Google Slides. So these are just a few extensions that I have used during virtual teaching that have been very helpful. You can go to your Chrome Web Store and just add these as an extension to your browser. So the first one is called Duelless, and what it will do is when you click on it, it will split your screens. So if you are working on your laptop and you don't have an extra monitor with you, you can use that, which just makes it really helpful when you're having a WebEx and then maybe something interactive that the students need to be working on. You can see the interactive piece and you can see your WebEx meeting, so you can keep an eye on your students as they are working. I've also had students download this on their computers or add this extension to their Google Chrome browsers so that when we are working collaboratively, they can also still see me and work on the collaborative assignment at the same time. So I recommend that. Bitmoji, Giphy, and the emoji keyboard are just some fun extensions that can add some joy to your lessons. So I recommend checking those out. And then Equatio is great if you are a math teacher, especially in the higher upper elementary grade levels. It allows you to either use your handwriting or voice recognition to create math problems. So if you're working with fractions, instead of searching for a way to type out that fraction bar, you can just say it into the Equatio program, or you can write it with your mouse, or if you have an iPad, write it on your iPad, and it will turn it into text so that it looks like this. So those are great extensions if you have not used those before. And then we'll go straight into Jamboard. So Jamboard is a lifesaver, especially when you are teaching virtually. It is a collaborative digital whiteboard that can be used during your synchronous instruction or your asynchronous instruction. So it's great for modeling during live instruction, but you can also save the frames as PDFs or images. So you could post those to Canvas or email them to students if they're absent. It's just a great way to do some modeling. So I'm going to go ahead and leave my presentation and show you this in real time. This video in the presentation will go through all these steps as well, so you could always go back to watch this if you need to. Jamboard can be found in your Google Waffle. You just have to scroll down a bit, and you'll look for this icon. When you click on that, it will take you to an area in your Google Drive that will save all of your jams. Down in the corner, there is a little orange plus button. That is what you will use to open a new jam. And then it will look just like a blank whiteboard. Some of the cool features that Jamboard has are that you can change the background. So you can add dots, you can turn it into lined paper, you can also turn it into grid paper. And then there's also just an option for a blue or a black background. And then over to your side, you have all of your editing tools. So there's a pen, a marker, a highlighter, a paintbrush, and a few different colors you can pick from. You have your eraser, your select tool. This is the fun part that kids love. You can add sticky notes. And then once you have your sticky notes, you can resize them or rearrange them. You can also duplicate them if you're putting like math problems on there or something that you want to be able to change really quickly. So those become very fun, especially when the students are working collaboratively with you. I'll show you how to do that in just a few seconds. And then you also have the option to add images. So you can upload them from your computer or your Google Drive, or you can search Google straight through Jamboard. So that will insert pictures. And then you also have a pointer that you can use that doesn't write anything, it's just to point information. The one tricky piece about Jamboard is that you can't insert text unless you're putting it on a sticky note. So let's say you wanted to have a sentence on your Jamboard, you would either have to write it with a pen, or I have typed it in a Google slide and then use my snip tool to copy and paste it onto the Jamboard. You can also add different frames to your Jamboard so that if you have multiple things to show students, I can show something on this, and then I can show them on the next page, and then I can keep all of those in one jam to be shared with students. This is very similar to everything else in Google. It will automatically save as you are working. You can title your jam just like everything else in Google by clicking there. And then the great part is you can, when you are finished, download it as a PDF or save it as an image. You can also make a copy of a jam if you, let's say, have something that you want to work on with multiple students. You can have one for Abby, and then you can make a copy of that and use the same jam for another student. I'll show you some examples of some jams that I have used before, and then show you how you can share them with students. So these next few slides just kind of go over the things that I showed you in case you need to remember how to get back to them. And then this is more about how to share with your students. So if you are instructing virtually, you could share your screen just like I am, and students would be able to see the jam that you are working on in real time. If you, let's say, taught a lesson and you have a jam that you want to share with students just for them to look at, but for them not to be able to edit, you can share the link with them just by clicking your share button and then sharing the first link that pops up. The great thing about Jamboard, though, is that it can be collaborative. So if during a virtual instruction lesson, you want students to be able to add sticky notes or write on the whiteboard as you are teaching, you can make them editors, and then they will be able to work in real time with you, adding their own thoughts and ideas onto the jam. So to do that, when you click the share button, you will click the link that says Fort Zumwalt, and you will change it to make anyone with the link an editor. Then when your students get this link, they will be able to collaborate with you as you're teaching. So here are some examples. This was a jam that my students did during summer school this year, and they collaboratively all got access to edit our Jamboard. And we talked about making book recommendations. So if kids were looking for books to read over the summer, we wanted to have a place where they could go to find some books that might be interesting to them. So each kid got to add one sticky note, and they got to type the book that they wanted to recommend on that sticky note. You do have to do a little teaching before you assign a collaborative Jamboard. Remind the students that they should be sharing the space appropriately, and remind them that they shouldn't be editing anyone else's sticky notes. But once you teach that lesson and then they get to work on it together, they had so much fun. It was a great use of our time once they learn this technology. Another example would be if you want students during a virtual lesson or even in the classroom to make predictions about a book, but turning and talking that day is a challenge, or you want them to be able to all share their ideas and then pick a few out, you could post a picture of the cover, ask the students to make a prediction, and then you could share the jam with them, and they could each pop on, post their sticky note, what they think the book is going to be about, and then you could pick one or two to share out with the class. The sticky notes can also be moved around. So this would be more of an assignment that would be shared maybe with students individually. You could make a copy for each student and share it to them so that they can edit it. And then they would use the select tool to sort these Post-it notes into the correct category. We've also used it just for mentor sentences. So posing a sentence and having the students talk about what they notice. In this example, I did not share the board collaboratively with students. They were just telling me their thoughts, and then I was taking notes on our board as we worked. Jamboard has been, in my opinion, the greatest for math because the students can watch me in live time work through the problem. So in this example, we were working on bridging our sketch of expanded sums into our sketch of an addition problem into expanded sums. So I was sketching, the kids were watching, and then they were teaching me how to write the expanded sums. So again, in this version, I did not share the board so that they could edit. I only had editing access. They were watching and talking through it with me. But then I was able to send this out in an email to parents to say, this is what we worked on today. If you're practicing independently, use this as an anchor chart to refer to. And then this example, again, takes a little bit of teaching digital citizenship before you do it. But I know for our virtual teachers, there may be times when you are teaching a lesson and then sending kids to work on their independent work on their own, but you might want to keep a few students who maybe didn't quite get the lesson or need a little more extra practice. You could use Jamboard in a small group. So in this example, I would have this problem posted on my first frame of my Jamboard, and then each student would be assigned a different number frame within that Jamboard. So I would give these 4 students editing access, and then after we reviewed, I would say, okay, Levi, you go to board number 3, Michael, you go to board number 4, Addie, board number 5, and John, board number 6, and they could all work on showing their proof for that math problem. And then as they are working, you could toggle on the top of Jamboard to those different frames to watch as they're working. And then they would be able to receive immediate feedback from you as they're working through the problem. That would also be great then to have the students look at each other's work to talk about the different strategies that they use to solve that math problem. So again, making sure that you teach the students not to go to anyone else's board, not to edit anyone else's work, but to really use it as a tool to collaborate on a math problem, even if they're all in their own houses. And then this is just another example of a sort. If you teach science, you could have pictures and the kids could move around their pictures to fit into the correct category. Katie, do we have any questions about Jamboard? If anybody has questions, if you want to type those into the Q&A really quickly before we start talking about Flipgrid.
I have not seen any questions as of right now.
Okay. For the next set, I will be talking a little bit about Canvas and how to integrate Flipgrid and Google Slides into Canvas. That is the one piece that Jamboard does not have yet. Your students, the only way for them to access your Jamboard is for you to share a link with them. So they would have to click on the link and it would open Jamboard. It wouldn't open through Canvas. So you could post the link to Canvas, but there's no integration that you'll have to worry about there. And then we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about Flipgrid. So this is another just way for students to collaborate, especially if they are working from home virtually. This is a discussion board that will allow students to post and reply to each other using video responses. So I'm going to go ahead and jump out of this presentation again to show you a few things. When you go to Flipgrid's website, you will just click Educator Sign Up, and that will allow you to create a Flipgrid account using your Fort Zumwalt Gmail. And then once you are logged into your Flipgrid, this is what it will look like. So you will have different groups. In Flipgrid, a group is like a class. So you will be creating your Flipgrids through Canvas, and each Canvas course you have will turn itself into a group. So your reading course will become a reading group. Your math course will become a math group. And then those will keep all of your grids for that subject area in one group. Each assignment in Flipgrid is called a topic. So this topic here was one question about a favorite book that students were responding to. The tricky thing about Flipgrid is if you create an assignment through the Flipgrid website, when you share it with students, you will have to share it as a link, and then that link they will have to open in Flipgrid. Canvas has an integration that we can use instead, which means that the Flipgrid will open under the assignment in Canvas and the kids won't have to go to that additional Flipgrid website. So I'm going to show you how to integrate your Flipgrid into your Canvas courses. It's kind of a lot of steps, but all of the directions are in the presentation, so you can always go back and read them if you need to. The first thing that you will need to do when you are in Canvas is go to your course. So once we have our curriculum ready, you will have courses in Canvas. If you don't have one now, but you want to practice, you can just click over here where it says start a new course, and you can create a course that you can practice with. So I'm going to go ahead and create a practice math course. And right now there's nothing in it. So I need to integrate Flipgrid by going all the way down to the bottom. Let me move my picture out of the way and click on settings. And then once you are in settings, you'll go to apps and you will want to search for Flipgrid. And it will pop up and you'll click on that and then you'll click add app. Then it's going to ask you for a consumer key and a shared secret. To get these, you'll have to go back to your Flipgrid account. And if you click on your little icon up in the corner and then go to integrations, you can click add new integration. And I'm just going to title this Canvas Flipgrid. And then it will generate a consumer key and a shared secret. So you will just copy that from Flipgrid into your Canvas. And then it should pop up and say that the app was added successfully. Again, you will have to do this for all of your courses in Canvas if you want to be able to use Flipgrid in all of them. So I just added it to my math course. I would need to go back to my dashboard and add it to my reading course as well if I want to be able to use it in reading. So now that it is integrated into Canvas, I'll show you how to create an assignment using Flipgrid. Once our curriculum is here, you will probably have assignment sections already labeled for you. So you will just be able to edit those assignments. Since I don't have any assignments here, I'm just going to go to assignments and create a new one. And then I might title this multiplication Flipgrid. Every piece of your instruction for Flipgrid will be created in the Flipgrid. So you don't have to put anything in this description box. You can just scroll down. And if you want to give this a point value, you can change that here. And then here is where you will put Flipgrid in. So where it says submission type, you will click external tool and then click find. And you should be able to scroll through and find Flipgrid. You'll click select, and then you will scroll down and save this assignment. Once it is saved, it'll take a few seconds to load. It will ask you to create a course group. So remember, that is what's going to create a group or a class in your Flipgrid. So this button will create my math Flipgrid course. So I'll go ahead and click that. And then you can edit your Flipgrid right here through Canvas. So you'll have the option to add a topic focus, which is what will show up at the top of the Flipgrid. This can be a video of you giving instructions to your students. You can either record that or upload it right here. You can add a YouTube video, you can add a picture, a GIF, an emoji. There are also some exciting options that are in Flipgrid now. Let's say you wanted students to read a Wonderopolis article and then respond with a question that you are posing to them. You can link the Wonderopolis article straight through Flipgrid. So check out all of the different things that you can integrate into your Flipgrids. And then when you scroll down within Canvas, you will get some of the options for your Flipgrid. There are a few that I will recommend you go back into Flipgrid to add. So I'll talk through a few of those quickly. You will have the option to attach a document. If say you have a Google Doc you want to attach to this or a slideshow, you can attach those here. And then you can also set an end date. So if you only want students to be able to respond for the next week, you can set your end date here. You can then turn these switches on or off depending on what you want your assignment to be able to do. So you can give the students options to download and share their videos. You can require students to provide an email address in order to submit their video. And then you can also allow them to know when new videos are added to that topic. So it will email you and it will email the students when new topics are added if you click that switch. And then you also have some options for what the students can do as they are recording their videos. So this one gives them the option to edit, trim, and rearrange their clips. This one allows students to reply to other people's videos. So they will be able to leave a video comment on another student's response. They can also see how many students have viewed their videos, and they can have the option to like each other's videos. So Flipgrid is another tool where teaching digital citizenship is important. You'll want to talk to your students about not just liking their best friend's video and not just commenting on the same person every time, but getting to know everybody in the class by watching a variety of students and replying to different people. And then you can also turn on or off students' ability to add sticky notes in their video as they are recording. And then you have some feedback options. So Flipgrid automatically generates a rubric that is on a 0 to 5 point scale. If you are grading these, you can leave that rubric or you can customize your own rubric. So within Canvas, those are the different features that you can adjust. When you are ready, you can click Update Topic, and then that will post to your student's assignment. I will say, if you go back into your Flipgrid account and go to your discussion, there are some extra things that you can turn on or off through the Flipgrid website that will sync with what you have done in Canvas. So now that my assignment is here, I like to go into Edit and turn on this first toggle switch. This is for video moderation. So when this is turned on, the teacher will have to watch all of the videos before they are posted to the grid. So every time a student submits a video, it won't show up until I view it and I approve it. So if you want to make sure you're keeping track of that and what students are saying and posting, you can turn that on. And then there are quite a few different features that you can go through here. I'll just keep scrolling to make sure that it is how you want it, and then you can update it, and that will all be set for when the student completes this assignment in Canvas. I'll show you a few other things on Canvas. Through the through Flipgrid, through the Discovery tab, you can find grids or topics that are pre-made that other teachers have created. Some of these are ones that include Wonderopolis articles or Nearpod activities. Epic eBooks is also linked into a few. So there are some great lessons, especially for like the first few weeks of school on community building in this section that I would recommend checking out. There's some trending topics, things that have been personalized based on what you have already created. This August collection has a lot of those great beginning of the year topics that you could look at either for inspiration or just to use in your class. And then your activity will just show how many groups you have, how many topics you've created, how many views your grids have. Mixtapes I have not used a whole lot yet. You can just collect videos here. So that is something that you might want to check out. I have personally not used this feature yet. The shorts, though, is a great option. So this allows you to record videos for up to 10 minutes. And then I'll go back to my presentation and show you some options that you have for those videos. And then Grid Pals allows you to connect with other educators through social media. So it will link to like an Instagram or a Facebook account, but then you can connect with other educators either in your building or around the world. Let's scroll back through here. This slide will have those directions for Canvas if I went too fast and you need to go back to remember how to add that integration. And then this just shows you some of the things that your shorts can do. You can add sticky notes, you can add text, and you can add emojis as you are recording your videos. This button here, when you're recording a short, will also allow you to switch to a whiteboard. So let's say I wanted to teach and explain things and then I wanted to show an example. The kids could see my face for the first few minutes. I could click that and then it would turn the background to a whiteboard so that I could show them. You can also insert pictures. And then there's also filters. So if you're doing something fun and you want to look like a rainbow, you can use those fun filters. One of the filters may actually be beneficial for some students as well. There is a filter that will pixelate your face so that you can kind of see the outline of your body, but you can't really see your face. Thinking about when you might use this, let's say you're asking students to present their PBAs and they're supposed to read their writing aloud and record that. If you have students that are nervous about doing that or uncomfortable showing a video of themselves, you could always offer them that option to turn that filter on so that you can still hear their voice and hear their presentation, but then their face doesn't have to be completely shown in the picture. So just something to offer as an option if needed. And then these videos can be saved and they can be uploaded to Canvas just like any other video would. You can integrate them into your Flipgrid topics. You could send them out in emails. They just save like any other video would. One other option that you have on Flipgrid is a screen recording option. So when you are recording a video, up in the top corner, there will be 3 little dots. If you click on that, while you are recording, it will also record your screen. So this could be used in place of Screencastify or Loom. It has the same features as both of those programs. And then when you are ready to provide feedback to your students on Flipgrid, this is kind of what it will look like. So this is a pretend student who has recorded her video. I will have the option as the teacher to star that video. So if you have a student who gave a great response and you want other kids to know that they should go listen to that person, you can star it. And then on your board, it will go to the top so that students know, hey, this is a good one to look at. Then you'll have your option to enter the student's grade. So that's where that rubric will auto set to a 0 to 5 scale. And you can put their points in. And then you can also provide comments to students. So you can type your comments in and then email that feedback to students straight through Flipgrid. And then that, again, is just where those Grid Pals and Discovery options are. And then these are just some ideas of things you might use Flipgrid for. So beginning of the year culture activities or get to know you activities are great because then the kids, you can require them to watch at least 3 other peers and respond to them so that they get to know one another. PBA presentations are a great time to use this. You could also do like a morning or weekly check-in where students share something that they're proud of or a goal that they have for that day or week. In math, it would be great if you're talking through different ways or different strategies that students are solving problems. They could show their work and explain how they solve the problem. Or a reading response. If they're talking about characters and they have to compare the characters, they could talk through that and then be required to listen to other students and find similarities between characters in their independent books. All right, do we have any questions on Flipgrid, Katie?
Sorry, my mouse died. No, I haven't seen any questions so far. Keep on trucking.
Okay. Sounds good. The last thing we'll talk about are some interactive Google Slides. So I will say before I start this piece, working with the younger elementary students, Nearpod is a great way to turn your Google Slides interactive. I am not going to be talking about Nearpod today. That is a different training, but I would definitely recommend looking into that and starting to practice with Nearpod because it is probably the easiest way for students to be able to interact with their Google Slides is when we create them through Nearpod. The ways that I will show you today are also great options. They just take a little bit more training on the teacher end. We have to teach our students how to manipulate this type of Google slide, whereas with Nearpod, it's pretty self-explanatory for the kids. So my first few recommendations are just to find fun backgrounds or fun interactive templates when you are working in Google Slides. So these websites, Slidesmania, SlidesGo, and Slides Carnival, are all great places to go for free Google Slide templates that are cute and that already have, Slidesmania especially already has a lot of interactive hyperdocs that you could just then edit and tailor to your lesson. As always, if you're showing videos, just embed those videos into your Google Slides instead of sharing them as a link. You can insert them as a video and copy and paste your video link there so that they're in the Google slide. And then another way you can make your slides interactive is to link things in your slides to other slides. So I'm going to show you a few examples of those. I, for the past few years, have been a special education teacher. I work mostly with third graders. So these are kind of tailored toward third grade students. So just keep that in mind. You could obviously make these more in depth for the older kids, or you could make them a little more simple if you're working with younger students. But this would be an example that kids would get to edit for a PBA. So one of our PBAs in third grade is for students to write about something in the natural world and then write an informational magazine article about it. So we tell the students, all of the writers at National Geographic have quit, and we have to create the next version of their magazine. So after they complete their PBA, this would be their publishing piece of that writing. And the student directions are all listed down here in the notes, but you would definitely have to teach them through how to do this. In this piece, the students would click on the picture in the background and they would replace that image either by uploading something that they have saved or by searching Google so that their picture matches what topic they wrote about. Then the pieces on this cover page are linked to other slides. So when they click on the camera, it says watch a live volcano eruption. It will take them to slide 4 and they will have to insert a video of a volcano eruption or whatever topic they are writing about. As students are working, this button will take them back to that title slide so that they can continue editing. So they would edit the text, but this link would stay there. This text is also editable. They would say learn more about floods or hurricanes, whatever they're teaching about, but then this text box would link them to the slide where they would type their article. Again, they could go back to their homepage, and then this one says, can you identify the parts of the volcano? So part of this PBA is them creating an illustration or a diagram as a text feature. So that would take them to a slide where they would insert they could either create it digitally or they could draw it and then upload a picture of their diagram. And then the fun thing about this type of project for them is then as they are presenting it, when it's in present mode, they will be able to click as they're talking to show what they are talking about as they present. So that's one option. That one obviously would take a little bit of prep time and teaching time to get the kids to be able to do all of those pieces. But for most kids, once you show them 1 or 2 times, they kind of fly with it. So that is one option. This would be more of an interactive lesson. Let's say you needed students to work on something independently. So if you're a virtual teacher and they need an assignment for science that is not live instruction, or just this could be like as a review in the classroom. So this would be more of a guided lesson that students would work through in present mode. So this is added as a GIF using that Google Chrome extension I talked about. I think those just make things a little more fun for kids. But as they work, they would watch this video, and then they would be able to click on each state of matter to learn more about it. So when they click on solids, it would take them to a page where they could read about solids, and then they would click back to go back to the screen. When they're ready to read about liquids, they would click on the liquids and then go back. And then when they're ready to click or learn about gases, they could go and then go back. This little button over here where it says read me is linked to an outside website. So when they click on this, it will take them to a Wonderopolis article about the stages of matter. They would read or listen to that, and then they would be able to go back to their presentation. And then this last box is like, hey, you think you've got it? Now you can go test your knowledge. So they would click here. This tells them to exit present mode. So in order for them to work on this page, they would have to be back in their editing phase. And then they would be able to move these pictures into the correct category to show that they understand. And then just another little GIF to let them know that they did a great job. So that's one example. And then my last example would be a word study choice board. So this would be maybe something you assign for homework or for our virtual learners to get some extra practice with their word study patterns. Again, when this is in present mode, they will have these options to work through, and when they click on that option, it will take them to the page. The students then could either do this assignment with pencil paper and upload a picture of it, or you could just have them type their answers straight into the Google Doc and then submit that as a Google assignment for you to check over. So that is kind of a quick overview of just some ideas that you could use with interactive Google Slides. I know last training someone asked, how do you link something in a Google slide to another Google slide? So it's really easy. When you have the image inserted, if you just right click on it, when you, it's already have a link on it, so it won't show me. Okay, so you can either right click on it and click add link if it doesn't already have one, or you can just click the insert link here. When you do that, if there's not already a link there, it would give you an option to paste a link to an outside website, or you can click slides in this presentation, and then you can pick the slide number that you want that picture to take them to when they click on it. And then my last piece of advice is just to add videos and add Bitmojis and add GIFs, especially for our virtual learners at home. They're going to be looking at a computer screen for a lot of their day. So as fun and as joyful as we can make it, the better off of an experience they will have. The last piece that I will show you is how to insert those interactive Google Slides into Canvas. So I'm going to jump back to my Canvas account really quick, and I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and we'll go into our reading class this time. Again, if you have an assignment that's already here, you'll be able to just click edit assignment. Since I don't have any, I'm going to create a new one. And for your Google assignments, let's say I'm going to put in my word study choice board. You may want to include directions here, like tell students how many of the assignments they need to complete or how many of the activities they need to complete. Any directions you want for the students can go there. And then you will scroll down once again, and where it says submission type, you will click external tool, and you'll click find again. And then you should all already have Google assignments as an option. So you'll be able to click on that, and it will link to your Google account. Sometimes it just takes a few minutes. Okay, and then this screen is where you will insert that assignment. So where it says attach, you'll click that. And then you can search your drive. I'm just going to insert that word study choice board that I used recently, so it's right there. And then it is automatically set so that when the students click on this assignment, they will get a copy that they will be able to edit. So in Google Classroom, I know we had to change that setting. Here, it is already set so that each kid will get a copy. And then if you want to change the points or add a due date, you can do those things here. You can also add a rubric. And then all you do is click Create. And then select. And then you can scroll down and click Save. On that piece, if you are ready for students to see it, like you want them to work on it today, you can go ahead and click Save and Publish so that it pops up. This piece usually takes a few seconds to load. So what will show up here is just the assignment that you created, how many points you made it out of, the due date, and the file is attached. And then as students start to turn that in Canvas, it will tell you how many students have submitted it. And then you will be able to grade it, provide feedback, and return it to them. On their end, they will not have to go anywhere else. That assignment will just be right here in Canvas so that they can work on it without having to go to any extra websites. And that is pretty easy in Canvas for that. So that's all for that one. The video is here in case you need to go back and watch that. And then that is all I have for you guys. So if you have any questions, you can stick those in the Q&A box. I would be more than happy to answer them. I'll stick around for a few minutes. And then again, if you have questions, you can always email me. I will go back to that original slide as well. If you did not get this bit.ly link down at the beginning, if you copy that into your browser, it will make a copy of this presentation, and then all of the interactive Google Slides are linked in so that you can get a copy of those as well, and then you can edit them and use them with your students if you would like. Thanks for coming today and taking some time out of your day to learn some fun things for our kids.
Have you ever tried embedding Jamboard into Canvas and see if it works the same?
Embedding Jamboard, is that what you said?
Yeah.
I have not embedded Jamboard because I've used it mostly just during live lessons with students.
I'd just be curious if it worked if you put it in there where you had one of those like matching ones. It would show up. Because I know
I have not tried that yet.
I know some stuff you can embed into Canvas if you get the embed code. I just haven't tried it at all.
Yeah, I don't believe that there's a way because like it's not a Google Doc or a Google Slide. I know you can embed those, but I don't think you can actually embed a Jamboard. I will look into it, and if you can, I will add that to this slideshow that people know. But you can, like, if you have it and you want to use it as an anchor chart, you can save it as an image or a JPEG or a PDF, and then you can embed that into Canvas. So,
yeah. It would just be nice when they didn't have to click all the way around everything.
I see another question. It says, if students are looking for videos on YouTube, is there a way to modify their settings so they don't accidentally find inappropriate videos? I do believe the district has some settings. If the students are using district Chromebooks, that should be blocking a lot of their videos, but I don't think that there's anything that we can do on our part to.
No, it's just, and it's not perfect. I know there are probably workarounds for kids to find them. I would just say if you ever do find something, definitely report it so they know, so they can go specifically to that and block it. Yeah, I don't know if we have that control.
Yeah.
Do that compliment.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks, April.
Everyone's welcome to go. I feel like people are like, are there going to be questions that I need to be here for?
Yeah, if you guys have questions, you're free to go. Thanks for coming. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.
Yeah, that's good.